conscious-based poet, so I like to talk about emotion.
Like a scrape to raw flesh as I shelter my own tears like scabs, ever wet.
Even if you wear your emotions, throw them away.
Emotions demand for me to be dismissed, and I just want to get my point across without a lecture turning to a
Published.
Wet. Sips on the fields type of thirst.
The plastic over my head is society's expectations, breathing by default for meditation. Half near suffocation. I never realized how hard it was to just breathe in. So much peace with so much to do, so much to speak with so much to prove, with so much to be. We're misunderstood, the expectation still lingers around me. An introvert off stage, an extrovert in space, introverts to start off the page, extrovert to show you the other side is also green, just a different shade. Right in the lines, across the words as they flow deep. 7 years of actively creaking by the creeks with no idea how to swim. Just doggy paddling until I get the trim, the rundown, the cut down on what this purpose really is. For everything that was ever said came with a price on sale instead of being bought for what it is. Therefore, I have massive faces most can't read. Yes, read. Not me. Read when I write, read when in my poetry the real me speaks audibly, loudly, room encompassing in front of the whole world with modesty, showing what it cost me to stand by the words. When the real story lined right behind, life taking its course, taking its hurt, as I lived, loved, and lived, taking parts of me as I learned, lost, and grieved, parts that were a part yet no longer me. Sorry. The expectation still lingers around me, as I am trying to translate growth with the language I've been accustomed to speak, trying to translate my oaths with body language stiff as a sheet, trying to translate more when my face won't change, this is me. I was raised to stand tall like them trees. When the secret is I'm the most fluid thing, even when life has me bending to the knees, all you see me is solid. As a butcher's board, like when my grandmother used to cut meat. Believe her with a cleaver as she speaks, chopping against the wood is me. Even when impacted, I'm standing tall like the trees. As a child, I grew up okay, rather than most can say. Roof over my head, clothes on my back, and every night a whole plate. The ones that sat at the table and ate couldn't complain, for the pots that eating with your bare hands will go in vain. So shut your face and have grace. In this space, your word has no space. Believe what you want, it won't change. So validation wasn't validation if you aren't validated in exchange. Validation isn't validation if you were questioned on your pain or why you say you are the way you say. I grew up being too quiet for my own good, quick for the brain, too much for the ear, my voice left the same. To let others' voices protrude out of my own poetry, even in my verbiage, the voices are the same. Hearing I spoke too much when it was my piece. They tell you to heal yet to never speak. Taught to people please, and I swear it ain't my thing. Guilty for abusing the power of hiding, for I've always gone through such, and the prize always been much, so much to handle, to validate, to just suck up. So I'm trying to explain that when I got here, this ain't luck. This is me trying to get unstuck out the mud, trying to undo what has been done. Poetry came from a place where I used it as substitute words instead of emotion. It was the play of words when I couldn't get my expression into motion. Substitute the words for entertainment at any moment, but the lies were always the main component. Half near suffocation. I never realized how hard it was to just breathe in. So much peace with so much to do, so much to speak, so much to prove, there's so much to be. When misunderstood, the expectation still lingers around me. With a pencil to date the paper. For in every word, I spilled the tea on the real me. Behind expectations, still telling the truth, still feeling that heat. Still being creative, still feeling like a kid. Still showing my muse, the one that gave me a fix. And still hearing the tunes, the one that broke my bones and shit. The expectation still lingers. When I'm no one to match it, just overcome it. This tiredness, this bit of angst. Still with ants in my pants, tired. So I took some space from poetry and I felt like it was too late to get back in and explain my distance. My lack of coexistence, my stillness, my act of resistance, my realness and the ability to accept that I was healing, dealing with some things that was reeling me into dark places as I was peeling finger by finger, the light from the ceiling. Or if no one cared to share my darkness with, then in the light you knew nothing of what I was feeling. I was feeling like this paper would be my only friend and this pencil would be here until the ends. When the truth is, I've outcasted myself for every word, written all the pain that resonated no more, told stories that eventually got old. My voice took a breather to watch my throat go cold. I looked around and I was alone. I wrote, getting the nonsense out. The things no one wants to hear about. A poem or shit I don't even want to talk about. For me, be all ego, misconstrued in perception of who partook in the things I viewed. That stopped me from living too. The entitlement on the things I wrote, I knew time flew. I wrote a book, now I'm trying to figure out how much I grew. Because I grew up standing tall like the trees, believing I was not capable of being, seeing the world outside of its meaning. I grew up believing no one can be trusted, for they may be all scheming, all bleeding, all human, all needy, all embodiment of the species. They chop the wood into pieces. I grew up believing there wasn't anyone out here seeking accountability, facing possibilities in a world that would see the beauty and fragility. I grew up believing anything close to my vulnerability was taboo. Nothing new, just something you couldn't do. So who knew I would wear it effortlessly on my chest, my neck, down to my chakras too. I grew up believing I couldn't talk about what no longer resonated with me when it wasn't true. Even if it's some shit I don't even want to talk about, I have to.